If they bring coke, you take it. If they bring this one, you take it. If they bring that one, you take it. You say that it's the Lord's day. Okay. Hi guys. Yeah, welcome to my channel, Relationship of Usual. A place where we talk about relationship and we discuss marriage also. It's a place where we give you the right mindset concerning your relationship and marriage. So basically it's all about relationship and marriage. You're welcome. Okay, today we'll be talking about faithfulness and unfaithfulness in marriage. Faithfulness and unfaithfulness in marriage. Okay, what is faithfulness? Faithfulness in marriage is the ability to be loyal or trusted. Faithfulness in marriage is the ability to be loyal or trusted. When your spouse can trust you, then we can say you are faithful. Yes, the ability to be loyal and trusted. When we are talking about faithfulness, you are not the one to test your faithfulness, whether you are faithful or not. Your spouse tests whether you are faithful or not. You understand? So the ability to be loyal or trusted is called faithfulness. So as a Christian, faithfulness is a required virtue. As a Christian, faithfulness is a required virtue. It is something that you need to possess as a Christian. For you to come to me and say you're a Christian and I now found that you're not faithful, then definitely that means you're not a Christian. So it's something that you need to possess. The Bible says the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, long-suffering, you understand, goodness, kindness, faithfulness. So it's one of the virtue that you need to possess as a Christian. For you to say you have the fruit of the Spirit, you have the fruit of the Spirit. So you need to possess faithfulness. It's a required virtue. Unfaithfulness in one area of life may be an indicative of possible unfaithfulness in other areas. Unfaithfulness in one area of life may be an indicative of possible unfaithfulness in other area. If you are not faithful in your relationship, it may be an indicative that you might not be faithful in your marriage. You are not really faithful in your relationship. Definitely by the time you get married, you might not be faithful. So unfaithfulness in one area of life might be an indicative of possible unfaithfulness in other area. Maybe your spouse find it difficult to open up to you in a particular area. Your spouse might also find it difficult to open up to you in other area. You understand? Or probably he's not faithful in a particular area. So it actually leads to other area. You will be faithful in smaller things, will be faithful in greater things. So same thing also goes with faithfulness. When you are faithful in a particular area, definitely you're gonna be faithful in other area as well. So even if you are faithful in your relationship, definitely you're gonna be faithful in marriage. So it goes hand in hand. You understand? So unfaithfulness is a sin. I'm sure we don't have any issue with that. Unfaithfulness is a sin. Someone who is not faithful in a relationship, definitely it will lead to fornication. And we all know that fornication is a sin. For the married folks also, we know that unfaithfulness leads to adultery. And we also know that adultery is a sin. It's a sin. So adultery and fornication, they are both sin in the eyes of God. They are both sin in the eyes of God. So unfaithfulness is a sin. Although it starts in a seemingly harmless ways, like spending more time with your spouse, with someone who is not your spouse. It starts in a seemingly harmless way, like spending more time with someone who is not your spouse. You might say, oh, the boss is not my spouse now, and we are just, we're just chatting, there's nothing there, there's not an issue now, so what's there? No, it started from somewhere, and alcohol addict started from just one shot, from taking one shot. A smoker started from just one puff. So it started from somewhere. So you might say, it's just for the first time you are just talking, you are calling that person by during hot hours like 2 a.m. Instead of you to be with your spouse, spending time with your spouse, you are calling that person, you are saying that, oh, we are just having meeting. You understand? So it's a sign that you're not faithful. You understand? So all these things are sin in the eyes of God. They are sin in the eyes of God. So let's talk about the causes of unfaithfulness. Then what are the things that can actually cause unfaithfulness? The first thing is spending more time with someone who is not your spouse. I've talked about it. When you spend more time with someone who is not your spouse, definitely you are opening doors to unfaithfulness. So there's no point in me trusting you when I know that, okay, you spend more time with someone, you understand, with other party, and you're telling me there's nothing wrong in it, and you're telling me, oh babe, nothing is wrong, we are just having meeting. No, it's a sign. It can lead to unfaithfulness. It's a sign that, oh, you are not faithful, something is wrong. Because why will you be calling someone who is not your spouse at odd hours, saying that you are having meeting? Oh, you need to spend more time with your spouse than the other person. You are spending more time. When you are spending more time with someone who is not your spouse, it can cause unfaithfulness. It can lead to unfaithfulness. Another point is not caring about your appearance. Not caring about your appearance. You don't care about your appearance. It can lead to unfaithfulness. Just for example, like your dressing. You don't dress. You don't dress in a way that, oh, your spouse will say, wow, that's my babe, that's my guy. You understand? You are not challenged. You are not challenged about your dressing. You understand? So it can actually lead to unfaithfulness, because these little things that you might say, oh, this is just little. What's there now? What's there? Just dressing. Someone might say you can dress in just little unfaithfulness. It can, because if you ask those who are not faithful in their mind, ask them why do you involve yourself in such action? They might tell you, my wife is that person that she does not dress nicely, and all these girls outside there, they dress charming. You understand? My wife is that person that will style rapper up and down. That's what they will tell you. You're probably the guy too. You just dress shabbily. He does not take care of your hair. When you do also take care of your hair, it can also lead to, it's a sign of you're not being challenged about your appearance. You understand? Another one is your weight gain or loss. Maybe your spouse is that person that does not like a fat, someone that does not like a fat person, and you're this type of person. You don't care. You say it's the Lord's doing now. If they bring Coke, you take it. If they bring this one, you take it. If they bring that one, you take it. You say that it's the Lord's doing. You say, oh baby, you are getting fat. You say, it's the Lord's doing now. You understand? Instead of you to work on yourself, instead of you to do exercise, instead of you to avoid all these junk foods, you understand? So that you can actually attract your spouse, where you just neglect it and you say there's nothing bad in it. All these things can cause unfaithfulness in your marriage. Another point I want us to know is failure to develop interest in sexual activity with your spouse. Failure to develop interest in sexual activity with your spouse. When it's time for you and your spouse to make love, you say, oh babe, I'm tired, man. I have a long day at work. I'm tired, please. Not now, baby. You understand? You start giving excuses. That excuses that you give. That excuses that you give with your spouse. All these things can actually lead to unfaithfulness. When there's something you understand, you need to understand in marriage. Sex in marriage is commitment. Sex in marriage is commitment. It's not compatibility. When it comes to sex in marriage, it's not compatibility, it's commitment. There are things that there is something that we call dutiful sex and beautiful sex. Dutiful sex and beautiful sex. You need to understand that. Dutiful sex is sex that you see as duty. You see it as duty. You see it as duty. Yes, you see it as duty. Whether you feel like doing it or not, you see it as a duty. You give yourself to it anytime, any day. Whereas beautiful sex is the one that you create time. You understand? You create time for it. You make love together, you enjoy one another. But dutiful sex is something that you see as duty, whether you feel like you're doing it or not doing it. You understand? So sex in marriage is all about commitment. So another one is lack of communication. You really are not able to communicate with your spouse. When you are not able to communicate with your spouse, you cannot communicate your feelings. Just some people cannot just talk. They just do marriage. Well, all they know is just sleep, wake up, give birth to children. Whenever they come back home, the wife will go to the kitchen, the man will just sit in the sitting room, place his leg on the table, watching TV, and when the food is done, the wife will bring it and they eat. That's all. There's nothing like communication. They don't talk. They don't talk about how their day went. You understand? So when there is lack of communication in marriage, it can lead to unfaithfulness. Do you get it? So another point I want us to know is lack of intimacy with your spouse. Lack of intimacy with your spouse. Well, intimacy is friendship. Intimacy is friendship. When you don't build intimacy with your spouse, it can lead to unfaithfulness. When you're not friends with your spouse, whenever something happens, the person you call will be your friends outside. You need to be able to call your spouse, you relate with him or her. You understand, this is what's happening, these are the things I'm facing. Be friends, be friends. When you're not friends with your spouse, it can lead to unfaithfulness. Yes, one of the ways you can actually be friends with your spouse is when you're interested in what your spouse is interested in. You're interested in his hobbies, his likes, all these things you understand. So build intimacy, but when there's lack of intimacy, it can cause unfaithfulness. So, having said that, let's go to ways that you can actually foster faithfulness. The first one is fear God and be obedient to His word. Fear God and be obedient to His word is very, very important. God is the owner of marriage. He's the one who created marriage. So you need to submit yourself to Him. Follow His manual. Follow His guidelines, His principles. All His principles are for us. You understand? So you need to fear Him and obey His word. Follow His principle. Obey His commandments. He's the one who knows what marriage is all about. You need to follow Him. So that is just the basic thing. You need to fear God and obey His word. Another way you can actually foster faithfulness in your marriage is praying together. This is very important. Praying together as a couple. You need to learn to pray together as a couple. You need to learn to pray together. It's very important. Can two work together except they agree? You need to understand that praying together is one of the things that actually make a marriage work. You need to spend more time in praying together. In some home, there's something like morning devotion. They don't do morning devotion. Learn to do morning devotion together. At night when you want to sleep, pray together. Learn to have vigils. Learn to hold meetings, prayer meetings together. All these things work. It works. So it can actually build faithfulness when you are praying together. Another point I want us to know is avoid being close to the opposite sex. Avoid being close to the opposite. I think I've talked about that. Make your spouse your friend. Avoid being close to the opposite sex. Avoid it. Being close to the opposite sex. Avoid it. You don't need it. You understand? Let your spouse be your close friend. Another point is have mutual friends. So, avoid friends who are not your partner's friends. Let your friends be your partner's friends. Your friends are my friends. My friends are your friends. You understand? So let your friends be your partner's friends. Avoid those who are not your partner's friends. You understand? So have mutual friends. It builds faithfulness in marriage. It builds faithfulness. You understand? So another point is talk positively about your spouse. You talk positively about your spouse. A lot of people make mistake of whenever they are with friends, whenever they are in the public, all they say is negative things about their spouse. the things that their partners did to them, the hurt, No, you don't do that. You talk positively about your spouse. It brings about respect, honor to your spouse. You understand? When you talk positively about your spouse, you are building respect. There is a saying that says, the way you will be addressed, it is the way you dress that you will be addressed. When you speak positively about your spouse, people will see, they will be positive about you. They will be positive about your marriage. They will even have respect for your spouse. They will have respect, and even the devil will not be able to enter your marriage. The devil will not be able to come in between the two of you. And it also builds faithfulness. When you talk positively about your spouse, it will build faithfulness. They will know that, oh, you guys are bond. You guys bond. You understand? There is this bond between you guys. So talk positively about your spouse. Another thing that can foster faithfulness is develop intimacy with your spouse. Develop intimacy with your spouse. I've talked about this. I said friendship. Intimacy is friendship. When you are intimate, when you are one with your spouse, it builds faithfulness. It's not that your spouse will be saying one thing and you are saying another thing. You understand? One of the ways you can be intimate with your spouse is, being interested in what your spouse is interested in. You understand? So when you are interested in what your spouse is interested in, when you like his interest, when you have interest in the things that he's interested in, then definitely there will be what? There will be intimacy, and it will lead to faithfulness. Do you get it? So always learn to build intimacy with your spouse. Be your partner, your spouse friend. Marriage is about friendship. It's about friendship. Intimacy is like the oil. You understand? It's like the oil that runs a relationship. So learn to build intimate relationship with your spouse. And lastly is communicate with your spouse. I've talked about this too. Communicate with your spouse. You need to communicate. You cannot just be living you cannot just be living together without communicating. You need to communicate your feelings. You need to communicate how you feel. You understand? You need to, one of the things that works for me in my marriage is whenever we come home from work, we always talk about the things that happen to us all through the day. We share our experiences. So, and those things make us, it build intimacy. It also helps us to communicate. So whenever you do something that is wrong, I tell you, babe, what those things that you did is wrong. Oh, baby, you can actually do like this next time. You understand? Whenever I do something that is wrong, she will tell me, oh, baby, you can actually do like this next time. So So when you communicate, that means you are building faithfulness. Your spouse will be faithful. Your spouse will believe in you that, oh, these are the things that actually happen. You understand? During the day, and my spouse was able to communicate. To tell me all those things that happen. I'm not keeping anything. It shows you are not keeping anything. You are open. You are open to one another. You understand? So learn to communicate with your spouse. All right. Thank you guys. We have come to the end of the show. I believe this has helped you a lot. I believe you've been blessed. So what I would like you guys to do for me. I will need your comments. I would like you guys to tell me how you feel, how this has impacted you in the comment section. Just drop your comments in the comment section. And also please, share this page. Share it with your friends. Don't be the only one that will just be enjoying the goodies here. Let your friends also let it be a blessing to them. Let them also enjoy it, please. You understand? Thank you. Bye bye. See you in the next video. Bye bye.